Subscribe Tag TV YouTube channel and press the notification button.
People have to live in unity.
We are still in transition.
Civil society has been decimated.
Of course, we rely on media.
And I think the government has not done enough.
The international community has failed to respond.
No place in the world is perfect.
Yoga event is held here.
Severe injustice and they should be stopped. We should raise our voices, condemn this brutal act.
Hello viewers, I'm your host Uzma Jafri with another episode of South Asia Focus. Let's begin the show. The situation continues to remain tense at the border in Ladakh as China's aggression in the region has forced Indian forces to prepare for a long haul. Though New Delhi is engaging with Beijing through diplomatic and military channels, preparations are in full swing to activate its entire logistics network to transport supplies to thousands of troops for a harsh winter in the Himalayan region.
The Indian Air Force's C-130J Super Hercules landing at a forward base in Ladakh, carrying men and materials. In one of India's biggest military logistics exercises in years, has brought vast quantities of ammunition, equipment, fuel, winter supplies and food into Ladakh, a region bordering China-occupied Tibet. The move was triggered by a border standoff with China in Ladakh that began in May and escalated in June into hand-to-hand combat. 20 Indian soldiers were killed while China suffered an undisclosed number of casualties. Military officials say the development of roads and airfields on both sides of the border has also helped troops mobilize quickly in large numbers and in close proximity at some points in the Ladakh area.
और पिछले 20 साल में हम इसको मास्टर कर चुके हैं। हमारा लॉजिस्टिक इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर आज इतना स्मार्टली बिल्ट अप हो चुका है कि बाहर से आने वाला कोई भी यूनिट या फॉर्मेशन प्लग एंड प्ले मोड में आकर यहाँ पर जो यूनिट्स तैनात हैं उनके साथ जुड़ जाता है और इमीडिएटली इफेक्टिव हो जाता है।
India has doubled the budget for vital roads and bridges along the disputed border with China in recent years in response to Beijing's rapid infrastructure development on its side. Indian Defence Minister Rajnath Singh told Parliament that China had been building up its infrastructure in the remote mountains for decades and the government was trying to close the gap. Singh, who recently met his Chinese counterpart in Moscow, said that India and China border issue remains unresolved and that there has been no mutually acceptable solution and that China doesn't recognize the traditional and customary alignment of the boundary.
जैसा कि सदन इस बात से अवगत है कि भारत एवं चीन की सीमा का प्रश्न अभी तक अनरिजॉल्व्ड है। भारत और चाइना की बाउंड्री का कस्टमरी और ट्रेडिशनल अलाइनमेंट चाइना नहीं मानता है।
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi also said that the country and its parliamentarians stood firmly backing the soldiers against China's aggression.
पूरा सदन एक स्वर से देश के वीर जवानों के पीछे खड़ा है। ये बहुत ही मजबूत संदेश भी ये सदन देगा, सभी माननीय सदस्य देंगे, ऐसा मेरा पूरा विश्वास है।
Thousands of Indian and Chinese troops, backed by tanks and aircraft, are locked in an uneasy stalemate along a 70-kilometer-long front to the south of Pangong Tso Lake in Ladakh. Experts believe that with aggression in Ladakh, Chinese President Xi Jinping wants to keep his iron grip on power intact within the Communist Party amid weakening economy and COVID-19 outbreak.
Moving on. After nearly 20 years of violence, Afghan leaders and the Taliban were meeting face to face, adamant to defend their agendas behind closed doors in Doha. However, the people in Afghanistan remembered their dear ones who lost their lives in the decades-long violence perpetrated by the Taliban and other terror groups. We have a report.
These families of the victims of a 2018 suicide attack in Kabul gathered at the graveyard of their loved ones and called for a lasting peace as Afghan government officials and the Taliban hold talks in Doha to end 19 years of war in the country. At least 34 students were killed and 56 more were wounded during the attack on August 15, 2018. As the students were preparing for university entrance exam in a classroom at the Maud Academy in West Kabul, where many members of the city's mainly Shiite Hazara community live. Investigators said the bomber entered the center from a rear entrance and made his way into a classroom where more than 100 students had gathered.
و یک شرط میبخشیم که کشور افغانستان همیشه آرام باشد. کشور دیگه جنگ بس کنه دیگه. ما یک لقمه نان پیدا میکنیم. کار غریبی میکنیم. دیگه بس کنه دیگه. ولی از خدا دیگه بس کنه.
ما به عنوان یک شهروند افغانستان که به صورت مستقیم و غیر مستقیم از جنگ افغانستان آسیب دیدم، من خوشحال هستم که گفتگوها شروع شدن و امیدوار هستم که گفتگوها نتیجه بدن. به هر حال تمام مردم افغانستان که امروز از جنگ افغانستان رنج دیدن میخوانی به پایان برسد.
In Doha, the peace talks between the Afghan government and the Taliban replete with calls for peace from US Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and a host of dignitaries on video link urging a ceasefire, contrasted sharply with the recent violence on the ground. Just hours after the long-awaited talk started, the Taliban again jostled with security forces for control of key highways in Kunduz. The head of Afghanistan's Peace Council, Abdullah demanded reduction in violence as a priority in a meeting with Taliban representatives.
As one of the topmost issues in the minds of the people, reduction in violence in significant way, in a way that it is palpable, and also getting to humanitarian ceasefire and hopefully permanent ceasefire.
The Taliban do not recognize the Afghan government and call it Kabul administration, one that is installed by the United States. Some analysts and diplomats have raised concerns that the Taliban is entering talks with the upper hand, as violence has escalated in recent months in the war-torn nation, even as the United States withdraws troops.
Women are not safe in Pakistan. The rape of a woman on a highway near Lahore city has sent shockwaves across the Islamic nation. Protests have broken out in cities across Pakistan after a senior police officer appeared to blame the victim for traveling late at night without a mail.
Azadi, or freedom. Women chanted on the streets of major cities across Pakistan as they protested police handling of a case known as the motorway incident, a shocking rape of a woman by multiple assailants. A police chief's attempt to blame the survivor of the assault prompted demands not only for reforming the police response to sexual violence cases, but for women's rights in general. So far, those demands have been mostly ignored. On September 7, a woman was driving with her children on the Lahore-Sialkot motorway after midnight. When her car ran out of fuel, she called a relative and the motorway police. The motorway police did not respond because the location was outside their jurisdiction. While the woman waited for her relative, two men appeared and pulled her and her children from the car. They raped her in front of the children and robbed her. The protesters called for the sacking of the lead police investigator assigned to the case, Omar Sheikh.
Prime Minister Imran Khan wants to make it the state of Medina in the times of the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him. What kind of Medina state is this? What kind of an Islamic republic is this? Where a woman gets gang raped in front of her children in a big metropolitan city of Lahore, and the chief police officer blames her instead and says she shouldn't be out on the road at night. She shouldn't be driving alone. She should have taken this road, not that road, etc., etc. I think it is a shame.
शर्म का मकाम है हमारे मुल्क के लिए, हमारी हुकूमत के लिए, हमारी पुलिस के लिए शर्म का मकाम है कि इस किस्म का सानहा इस मुल्क में हुआ है और उसके बाद भी ऐसे कमेंट्स और ऐसे अल्फाज लोग इस्तेमाल कर रहे हैं कि उसमें भी विक्टिम ब्लेमिंग हो रही है. मतलब इससे ज़्यादा शर्म का मकाम एक मुल्क के लिए नहीं हो सकता जहाँ उनकी माएँ, बहनें, बेटियाँ कोई महफूज नहीं है.
In a television interview, Pakistan's Prime Minister Imran Khan said he wanted convicted rapists to be chemically castrated while reacting to a question on the rape of a woman.
देखिए ना, जिस तरह मर्डर होता है फर्स्ट डिग्री, सेकंड डिग्री, थर्ड डिग्री, उसी तरह इसको भी ग्रेड करें और जो फर्स्ट डिग्री हो उसको तो कैस्ट्रेशन करें, यानी उनको कभी भी, यानी उनको आप ऑपरेशन करके उनको नकारा करके रख दें.
Violence against women has been on the rise in Pakistan, a country of over 200 million people. It ranks 6th on the list of the world's most dangerous countries for women. According to statistics collected by White Ribbon Pakistan, an NGO working for women's rights, 4,734 women faced sexual violence between 2004 and 2016. Over 15,000 cases of honor crimes were registered. There were more than 1,800 cases of domestic violence and over 5,500 kidnappings of women during this period. Recently, lawmakers in Pakistan introduced legislation for the public hanging of those convicted of sexual abuse and the murder of children, but the law was not passed.
Moving on. Coronavirus has badly affected the economy of Nepal, which is based on tourism sector. Amid rising number of COVID-19 cases, the government is left with no option but to resume economic activities and allow transportation of goods and people. Let's take a look.
After 6 months of long wait, long-haul public vehicles in Nepal are out of their garages and set to ferry passengers with all precautionary measures to avoid spread of COVID-19 outbreak during the operation. The nationwide lockdown imposed by the government, which came into effect on March 24, had led to complete halt in long economic and social activities targeted to curb the spread of coronavirus infection. Now the wait is over as authorities announced to let them roll on the roads with much more precautionary measures.
गाडीहरू सीमित मात्रामा मात्रै तपाईको चलाउने योग्य छन् अहिले अब कोही बन्दै छन् कतिको टायरका समस्या छन् कतै इन्जिनहरू मेन्टेनेन्स गर्न पर्ने छ हरेक कुरो छ अब हाम्रो तयारी भनेको अब गाडीमा पेसेन्जर चाहिँ अलि कमै राख्ने र अब संस्थागत उसमा चाहिँ अब यो सेनिटाइजर देखि लिएर मास्कहरुको प्रयोग गराउने भन्ने कुरो छ
However, nearly 1 lakh people associated with public transport were rendered jobless after closure of vehicular movement, which came as an attempt to curb COVID-19 pandemic. Allowing vehicles to hit the road again. Government also has allowed service providers to increase fare up to 50% of pre-lockdown rate.
खुसी त भइरहा तै पनि अब यस्तो के अब खै अहिले गाडी भाडा अलि महँगो छ खुसी लागेर पनि के गर्नु तै पनि एकजना भने एकजना त्यति टाढा अलि हुन्छ नि नकमाउनेको लागि त अलि गाडी नै छ अब जस्तै अब गर्नेहरूलाई त अब ठिकै जस्तो छ तर हामी जस्तो सबैजनालाई अलि गाह्रो नै महसुस भइरहेछ भनौं
The concerned authorities also have directed various bus operation committees to conduct PCR, that is polymerase chain reaction test, of both the drivers and the vehicle assistants at certain intervals. Kathmandu city contributes about 40 to 50% of total number of COVID-19 cases, which has increased the risk of transmission to other districts with the outwardly flow of people in the wake of festive season. Some 50,000 people used to ferry in and out Kathmandu on a daily basis using road transports.
Moving on to India, a vibrant and culturally rich country where a large number of festivals are celebrated throughout the year. These festivals are grand celebrations showcasing the art and culture. It also brings together the family members living far away and creates a bond in the society. Today we will take you to Varanasi city where scores of women celebrated the 3-day Jivit Putrika or Jitiya Vrat Puja, praying for the well-being of their children. Have a look.
Dressed in their colorful traditional attires, these women are celebrating Jitiya Vrat or Jivit Putrika with religious fervor and adoration. Jitiya is a holy fast observed by mothers for the long life and well-being of their children. They prepare a variety of food items on this occasion, which include vegetable fritters, curry rice, noni saag, jor bhat and other delicacies. The mothers observe the fast following all the religious rituals and prayers and even remain without food or water for a day.
ये जितिया माई क्या होता है इसमें ये मन कहानी होला
24 घंटा बरती रहल जाला। सब कोई भूखा पियासा बिना अन्न बिना पानी का सब कोई रहला। फिर एकरे बाद जेकरे जौन शक्ति रहला माई के लिया करके पूजा करला। पूजा करके तब फिर कल रात भर दिन भर 24 घंटा बीत जाए बिना पानी का। तो पूजा करके तो सवेरे सब कोई 9-10 बजे ले पानी पियन अपने अपने घरे पूजा करियन।
Jitiya is celebrated for 3 days. Nahai Khai. The first day is Nahai Khai, where mothers consume food after having a bath in the morning, and also they pay homage to the departed ancestors from the family. Khar Jitiya. On this day, mothers observe strict fasting without drinking water. Paran. The third and the last day is when the mothers finally break the fast. A variety of delicacies are prepared on this day, such as curry rice, noni saag and madua roti.
हमने का जितिया है।
का होला जितिया के?
यही पूजा पाठ होता 24 घंटा बरती रहल जाई। वही पूजा पाठ होगा।
Women observe this fast from the 7th month of Ashwin of Hindu calendar on the Krishna Paksh Ashtami. It is mainly celebrated in the states of Bihar, Jharkhand and Uttar Pradesh.
According to the popular myth, Jitiya is an important vrat which is performed with austerity by the mothers for their children. So with that, we come to the end of this week's episode. See you next week. Goodbye and take care.
Subscribe Tag TV YouTube channel and press the notification button.